I never thought the man standing in the hallway watching me cry, the man I wasn't supposed to touch, the man whose father had fired me 3 months ago, would become the only reason I wanted to wake up in the morning. But that came later. Right now, I was just holding a pink eviction notice. The paper was thick, official, cold against my trembling fingers, like a death sentence printed in cheerful bubble letters. I stared at it under the fluorescent lights, that awful, electric hum that never stops in cheap apartment buildings. The carpet smelled like industrial cleaner and old cigarette smoke. Someone down the hall was cooking onions. The smell made my stomach turn, or maybe that was just the panic clawing its way up my throat. $4,800. 3 months back rent. I slid down the wall. My legs gave out. The notice crumpled in my fist. Emma was 8. Jake was 6 and diabetic. His insulin cost $600 a month. And their father, my ex-husband Mark, hadn't sent child support in 2 years. I should have gone inside. The kids were asleep. They didn't need to see me like this. But I couldn't move. Footsteps. I knew who it was before I looked up. David Chen. Apartment 4B. 30 years old. Software engineer who worked from home. Son of Mike Bennett, the CEO who'd fired me. David was the forbidden fruit I'd been avoiding for 3 months. Ever since I'd moved into this building, downgrading from my nice 2-bedroom to this cramped 1-bedroom with walls so thin I could hear him typing through the plaster. He was always polite, quiet, held the door when I was carrying groceries. Once helped Emma with her math homework when she knocked on his door asking about fractions, but I'd been keeping my distance. Because I was 42, unemployed, falling apart, and he was 30, put together, and his father had destroyed my career. Sarah? I looked up. He was standing 3 feet away, backpack slung over one shoulder, probably just back from the gym. His dark hair was damp. He smelled like clean sweat and something woodsy, cedar, maybe, or sandalwood. The scent cut through the onion smell, and the panic made my chest tighten in a way that had nothing to do with the eviction notice. I'm fine. I lied. He knelt down, eye level with me. His eyes were dark brown, almost black in the shitty hallway lighting. Patient. Concerned. You're sitting in a hallway at 11 p.m. holding an eviction notice, he said quietly. You're not fine. I tried to stand. My legs wobbled. His hand caught my elbow, steadied me. His palm was warm through my thin sweater, and I felt the heat of it spread down my arm, into my chest, pooling somewhere low in my stomach. I yanked away. I can manage. Sarah, your father fired me, David. Remember? 3 months ago. I don't need your pity. His jaw tightened. This isn't pity. Then what is it? He didn't answer. Just stood there, backpack still on his shoulder, smelling like the gym and something expensive I couldn't afford. Looking at me like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve. Come on, he said finally. Let me help you inside. My apartment was a disaster. Dishes piled in the sink, laundry overflowing from baskets, Emma's homework scattered on the coffee table, Jake's medical supplies, test strips, insulin pens, glucose tablets covering the kitchen counter like a pharmacy exploded. David didn't say anything, just helped me to the couch, then moved to the kitchen, started running hot water. What are you doing? Dishes. David, you don't have to. How much do you owe? He asked, not turning around. I stared at his back. He'd taken off his jacket. His t-shirt was fitted, showed the lines of his shoulders, the taper of his waist. He was lean, strong. I watched his forearms flex as he scrubbed a plate, and something in my chest twisted. Stop it, Sarah. $4,800, I said. 3 months' rent. His hands stilled, then resumed scrubbing. I've applied to 73 jobs, I continued, voice cracking despite myself. 73. 4 interviews. 2 rejection emails. 2 ghosted. I have $800 left in my account. Jake's insulin costs $600 a month. Emma needs new shoes. And I stopped, covered my face with my hands. I can't do this all alone. The water shut off. Footsteps. The couch dipped as he sat beside me, not touching, but close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating off him. Could smell that cedar and sweat scent that made my head spin. That's good, he said quietly. I looked up, confused. He smiled. Sad, gentle. That's good, because you're not alone anymore. The lie-off. 3 months. Earlier. The email came at 9:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. Asterisk, asterisk. Subject. Mandatory all-staff meeting. 10 a.m. Asterisk, asterisk. I knew. Everyone knew. Bennett and Associates had been acquired by TechCorp Global 2 weeks prior, and Mike Bennett, the silver-haired CEO who'd built this company from scratch, who I'd worked for 10 years, had been smiling too tightly during the announcement. His jaw clenched in that way that meant he'd lost control of his own company and was furious about it. The conference room was too small for 50 employees. The air was stale, stuffy. Someone's perfume too strong and floral, making my throat close up. I stood near the back, arms crossed, trying to look calm while my heart hammered against my ribs. Mike stood at the front. Expensive suit, silver hair perfectly combed, but his eyes were tired. "Thank you all for coming," he said. His voice was flat, professional, devoid of the warmth I'd heard in 10 years of working for him. "I'll get straight to the point. As part of the integration with TechCorp, we're restructuring. Restructuring. Corporate speak for times you're fired, asterisk. Effective immediately, we're eliminating 32 positions. HR will be reaching out individually over the next hour." My phone buzzed. Asterisk, asterisk. From hr@bennett.com. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Subject: meeting request. Urgent. Asterisk, asterisk. I stood up, walked out before Mike could see my face. My legs felt numb. Melissa from HR was 24, fresh out of college, wore too much mascara and couldn't look me in the eye. "Sarah, thank you for meeting with me." She slid a folder across the desk like it burned her fingers. "As part of the restructuring, your position has been eliminated. I've been here 10 years. I know." She swallowed. "And we, Mr. Bennett, appreciates your service. You'll receive 2 months severance. Your benefits will continue through the end of the month. 2 months severance. Rent was $1,600. Jake's insulin was $600. Groceries, utilities, car insurance, Emma's school supplies." The math didn't work. "Do you have any questions?" Asterisk. "Yeah. How am I supposed to survive?" Asterisk no, I said. Security escorted me out. I had to pack my desk in a box while my former team watched from the conference room. Jenna was crying. Marcus looked angry. Mike wasn't there. I didn't cry until I got to my car. I saw David for the first time 2 weeks later. I just moved into the cheaper apartment, downsizing, cutting my life in half to fit the budget of unemployment and dwindling severance. He was standing in the hallway. Tall, lean, dark hair, dark eyes, holding a box labeled kitchen. "You moving in?" he asked. "Yeah. 4A. He smiled. "I'm 4B. David." His palm was warm, calloused, and the contact sent an unexpected jolt up my arm. "Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. Let me know if you need anything." He disappeared into his apartment. I stood there, staring at his closed door, wondering why my heart was racing. Part 1 end to 7. 8. K. Chars. Part 2 continues with sensory tension. David's loneliness, slow burn, taboo revelation. I didn't see Mike Bennett, David's father, until 3 weeks after I lost my job. I was at the grocery store, counting every dollar, trying to figure out how to make $20 stretch to feed 2 kids for a week. Jake needed juice boxes for his blood sugar. Emma needed sandwich bread for school lunches. I was staring at the generic peanut butter when I heard his voice. "Sarah." I turned. Mike Bennett, silver hair, expensive coat, standing in the organic section like he belonged there, like he hadn't just destroyed my livelihood. "Mr. Bennett." "Mike, please." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "How are you?" Asterisk, how am I? Asterisk, I wanted to scream. Asterisk, I'm broke. I'm being evicted. My son's diabetic and I can barely afford his insulin. Asterisk. Fine, I said. Good. That's good. He shifted his weight. Uncomfortable. Listen, Sarah, about the layoffs. It wasn't personal. TechCorp demanded cuts. I understand. I tried to fight for your position. You were one of the best, Mr. Bennett. I kept my voice level. It's done. I don't need an apology. He nodded, relieved. Probably. That I wasn't going to make a scene. If you need a reference, I'll let you know. He left. I stood there, gripping the generic peanut butter, trying not to cry in the middle of the grocery store. That night, David knocked on my door. I just put the kids to bed. I was exhausted, still in my work clothes, old jeans, and a sweater with a hole in the elbow. David. Hi. Hey. He held up a bag. I made too much pasta. Thought you might want some. The smell hit me. Garlic. Tomato. Basil. My stomach growled. You didn't have to, I know. But I did. I let him in. Emma and Jake were asleep. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the fridge and the distant thump of music from upstairs. David set the bag on the counter. Pulled out containers. Spaghetti. Garlic bread. Salad. This is too much, I said. Then save it for tomorrow. He smiled. Easy. Like feeding your unemployed neighbor was the most natural thing in the world. I wanted to refuse. Wanted to tell him I didn't need his charity. But I was so tired. And it smelled so good. Thank you, I whispered. He nodded. Started to leave. David. He stopped. Turned. Why are you doing this? He was quiet for a moment, his dark eyes searching mine. And in the dim light of my cramped kitchen, I saw something I hadn't noticed before, loneliness, deep and aching, the kind that no amount of money or success could fill. Because I know what it's like to be alone, he said finally. David's loneliness. David started bringing food 3 times a week. Never too much. Never obvious. Just I made extra or this was going to go bad. I started inviting him to stay for dinner. Emma loved him. She'd show him her drawings, her homework, her favorite books. Jake followed him around like a puppy. Mr. David, look at this. Mr. David. Can you help me? And David, quiet, serious David, would smile. Patient. Kind. He'd sit on the floor with Jake, building Legos. He'd read to Emma before bed, doing funny voices that made her giggle. I watched from the kitchen, washing dishes, and something in my chest ached. Because David Chen, 30 years old, successful, handsome, was lonely. He never said it out loud, but I saw it in the way he lingered after dinner, the way he looked at Emma and Jake with something like hunger, the way he'd stand at my door, hand on the frame, like he didn't want to go back to his empty apartment. One night, after the kids were asleep, I asked him, "Do you have family? Friends?" We were sitting on the couch, 2 feet apart. The TV was on, but neither of us was watching. Not really, David said. My parents died when I was 22, car accident. I was in college. After the funeral, my friends drifted. They didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to ask for help. I'm sorry. He shrugged. It was a long time ago. I'm fine now. But he wasn't. I could see it in the way his shoulders tensed, the way he avoided my eyes. What about your father? I asked carefully. Mike. David's jaw tightened. My father remarried 6 months after my mom died. He was busy. Building the company. I graduated. Got a job. We talk maybe twice a year. That's why you work from home. Yeah. He smiled, bitter. I make good money. I have a nice apartment, but it's empty. I reached out, touched his hand. His fingers were warm, rough. He looked down at our hands, then up at me, and the air between us shifted, thickened, became something electric and dangerous. I pulled away. I should go, David said quietly. He left. I sat there, staring at my hand, still feeling the ghost of his warmth. 2 weeks later, Jake's insulin ran out. I stood in the pharmacy, fluorescent lights too bright, too white, making everything look washed out and dead. The pharmacist handed me the bag. The plastic crinkled. Inside, that'll be $647. My stomach dropped. My palms were sweating. The air conditioning was too cold. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears, feel the weight of everyone behind me in line, waiting, judging. I have insurance. Your insurance was terminated last month. Would you like to pay out of pocket? I stared at my debit card. I had $800 left. Rent was due in 2 weeks. Mom? Jake tugged on my sleeve. He was 6, small for his age. Dark hair like his father. Eyes like mine. Scared eyes. Just a minute, baby. I could skip rent. Use the money for insulin. Get evicted faster. Ma'am? I've got it. David. He was standing behind me, wallet in hand, and my face burned with shame and something else. Run it. David, I can't let you. You can. His voice was firm. Final. His hand touched the small of my back, steadying me, and the heat of his palm through my thin shirt made my breath catch. Let me help, Sarah. Jake was watching, scared. He'd heard the pharmacist. He knew. I swallowed my pride. "Thank you," I whispered. That night, David came over. The kids were asleep. I was sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. He sat beside me, closer than usual. Our thighs were almost touching. I could smell that cedar scent, mixed with laundry detergent and something warm that was just times him asterisk. "I'll pay you back," I said. "I don't want you to." "David, Sarah." He turned to face me. Our knees touched. The contact sent sparks up my leg. "Stop fighting me." "I'm not, you are. You've been fighting me since the day I met you, because your father fired me." "I know, and I'm sorry, but I'm not my father." I looked at him, really looked at him. Dark eyes, serious mouth, shoulders tense with something I recognized: longing, loneliness, the desperate need to be needed. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. "Really?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Because this apartment is the first place I've felt like I belong in 8 years. Because Emma draws me pictures. Because Jake calls me Mr. David like I matter. Because when I'm here, I'm not alone." His hand found mine, our fingers interlaced. His palm was warm, rough, and I felt the weight of it settle in my chest, heavy and sweet. "You're not charity, Sarah," he said quietly. "You're saving me." I kissed him. Tentative, like testing the waters. He kissed me back, gentle and patient, his free hand coming up to cup my jaw, thumb brushing my cheekbone, and I felt myself melting into him, into the warmth and the safety and the ache of being seen. When we pulled apart, we were both breathing hard. "We can't," I whispered. "Why not?" "Because you're 12 years younger. Because your father fired me. Because I have 2 kids and no job and I'm a mess. I don't care. You should, but I don't." He rested his forehead against mine. We were so close, I could feel his breath on my lips. "I want this, Sarah. I want you. David, move in with me." I froze. "What?" "Move in with me. I have 2 bedrooms. You and the kids take the bedrooms. I'll take the couch. We'll split groceries and utilities. No rent. David, I can't. You can. And you will." He pulled back, looked me in the eyes. "Because I'm not going to stand here and watch you drown. Not when I can help." Part 2. END to 8. 3K chars. Total. So far. To 17. 1K. Need. To 10K more for 27K target. Part 3. The move. Crisis week. Days. 1 to 7. Realistic resolution. We moved in on a Saturday. Emma and Jake were excited. "We get our own rooms?" Emma asked, eyes wide. "Yep," David said. He was carrying boxes, smiling, and watching him interact with my kids made something in my chest expand and ache at the same time. Jake followed him everywhere. "Can I help? Mr. David?" "Sure, buddy. Grab that small one." David's apartment was bigger, cleaner. Sunlight poured through the kitchen window. It smelled like coffee and laundry detergent, and that cedar scent that was becoming dangerously familiar. I stood in the doorway of what would be my bedroom, looking at the queen bed, the empty closet, and feeling like an intruder. "You okay?" David asked. He was standing beside me, 6 inches away, and I could feel the heat radiating off him, could see a bead of sweat sliding down his temple. But he didn't push. That first week was strange. David worked from his bedroom during the day. I job hunted. The kids went to school. At night, we cooked together. Our hands would brush, reaching for the same spoon. Our hips would bump in the small kitchen. Every touch was electric, deliberate, and I found myself leaning into him, craving the contact even as Emma asked one night, "Is Mr. David your boyfriend?" I froze, spatula in hand, tomato sauce dripping onto the stove. "No, baby. He's our roommate. Our friend." "But you look at him funny?" "I do not," Emma giggled. "You do. Like he's ice cream." David, sitting at the table with Jake, looked up. Our eyes met. He smiled, slow and knowing, and my face burned. The crisis day, one Mike finds out. 3 weeks after we moved in, Mike Bennett showed up. I was making dinner, spaghetti. Emma was doing homework. Jake was watching cartoons. David was in his bedroom on a work call. There was a knock. I opened the door. Mike Bennett, silver hair, expensive coat, and behind him Mark, my ex-husband. My stomach dropped. "Sarah," Mike said. His voice was cold. We need to talk. About what? Mark stepped forward. Smug. About the fact that you're living with Mike's son. My face burned. That's none of your business. It is when you're using my kids as an excuse to shack up with some rich kid. I'm not. Where are Emma and Jake? Mark demanded. I want to see them. You haven't called in 2 years. I'm here now. David appeared behind me. Everything okay? Mike's eyes narrowed. David. What the hell are you doing? Living my life. With her? Mike gestured to me like I was trash. She worked for me. Dad, do you have any idea what people are going to say? That she's using you? That she seduced you to get money? That's enough, David said quietly. No, it's not. Mike stepped closer. I fired her, David. I eliminated her position. And now she's living with you? Do you know how this looks? I don't care how it looks. Well, I do. You're my son. And I won't have you throwing your life away on some… Get out, I said. Mike turned to me. Excuse me? Get out of my home. This isn't your home. It's David's. And when he comes to his senses, Dad, David's voice was steel. Leave. Now. Mike stared at him. Then at me. Then at Mark. This isn't over, Mike said. They left. I stood frozen, trembling. David closed the door. Locked it. I'm sorry, I whispered. For what? For this. For your father? For he pulled me into his arms. Held me tight. I could feel his heart racing against my cheek. Could smell that cedar and coffee scent. And I wanted to stay there forever. You have nothing to apologize for, he murmured into my hair. Mrs. Patterson cornered me in the laundry room the next day. Sarah, dear. Her voice dripped with fake concern. I've been meaning to talk to you. I was folding Jake's shirts. The dryer hummed. Too loud. About what? Well, she glanced at the door, lowered her voice. People are talking. About you and that young man? David. My hands stilled. What are they saying? That you're using him? That he's some kind of sugar baby? Reversed, of course. She laughed, high and nervous. You're, what, 40? 42. And he's what, 25? 30. Still. She leaned closer. I could smell her perfume. Too sweet, cloying. Honey, I'm not judging. But you know how it looks. You lose your job. Move in with a younger man who pays your bills. He doesn't pay my bills. We're roommates. Roommates. She said it like a dirty word. Who share a kitchen? And dinners. And, well, just be careful, dear. You don't want people getting the wrong idea. Especially with your children. She left. I stood there, holding Jake's t-shirt, hands shaking with rage and shame. That night, I told David what Mrs. Patterson said. We were doing dishes, side by side. Our elbows kept bumping. Does it bother you? I asked. What people think? David turned off the faucet, dried his hands, turned to face me. The kitchen was small. He was close. 2 feet, maybe less. No, he said, but it bothers you. I didn't answer. Sarah. He stepped closer. 1 foot between us now. I could feel the heat of him. See the rise and fall of his chest. I don't care what they think. I care about you. And Emma. And Jake. But they're right. I am using you. You're not. David, you're paying for everything. You're sleeping on a couch. You're dealing with your father's judgment. With gossip. With, I'm choosing to be here. He reached out, tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. His fingers brushed my cheek, and I shivered. This isn't charity, Sarah. You're not a burden. Then what am I? His thumb traced my jawline. Gentle. Reverent. You're the reason I wake up in the morning, he said quietly. Your laughter in this apartment. You're Emma's drawings on my fridge. You're Jake calling me Mr. David like I matter. You're everything I didn't know I needed. I kissed him. This time. Harder. Hungrier. My hands found his shirt, fisted in the fabric, pulled him closer. He made a sound low in his throat, his arms coming around me, lifting me onto the counter, and I wrapped my legs around his waist, felt the solid weight of him between my thighs. We broke apart, both breathing hard. Emma and Jake, I whispered, are asleep. David, I know. He rested his forehead against mine. I know we shouldn't. But God, Sarah, I want you. I want you too. Day 3, David's boss. David's boss called him into a video meeting the next morning. I was in the living room with Emma, helping her with homework. David's door was closed, but I could hear voices. Your performance has declined. Distracted. Is everything okay at home? David's voice was calm, measured. I'm managing fine. Are you? Because you've missed 2 deadlines. You've been late to meetings. And I've heard you're dealing with a personal situation. Silence. What kind of personal situation? That's private. David, if you need time off, I don't. Then I need to see improvement. Fast. Or we'll have to reconsider your position. The call ended. David came out. His face was tight, jaw clenched, and I saw the stress in his shoulders, the way his hands were fisted. Everything okay? I asked, carefully. Fine. He lied. But I knew better. He was struggling. Because of me. I had a job interview. Assistant marketing coordinator. 20,000 less than my old salary. But it was something. The problem. The interview was at 2 p.m. Emma and Jake got out of school at 3. I'll pick them up, David said. David, you have work, I'll take a long lunch. It's fine. Your boss already thinks you're distracted, Sarah. He put his hands on my shoulders. Looked me in the eyes. Go to the interview. I've got the kids. I went. The interview went well. They said they'd call in a week. When I got home, David was on the floor with Jake, building Legos. Emma was reading on the couch. How'd it go? David asked, looking up at me with those dark eyes, and my chest ached with how much I wanted this. Wanted him. Wanted this life. Wanted to believe it could last. Good, I think. Jake looked up. Is Mr. David gonna stay forever? David and I looked at each other. Yeah, buddy, David said softly. I'm staying. David's boss called again 2 days later. This time, I was in the kitchen. I heard everything. David, I'm sorry, but I have to let you go. Silence. What? Your performance hasn't improved. You left early yesterday to pick up children that aren't even yours. They needed me, and I need an employee who prioritizes work. I'm sorry, David. We'll send your final paycheck by the end of the week. The call ended. I stood frozen. Spatula in hand. Tomato sauce burning on the stove. David came out. Saw me. You heard. I nodded. David, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. It is. You lost your job because of me. Because you were helping me and the kids, I made my choice, Sarah. But now you're unemployed too. We're both broke. How are we going to? I couldn't breathe. The room spun. David crossed to me, cupped my face. His hands were warm, rough, grounding. We'll figure it out, he said firmly. Together. I broke down, sobbed into his chest. He held me. Solid. Steady. The only anchor in my capsizing world. That night, after the kids were asleep, I tried to push him away. You should leave, I said. We were sitting on the couch, 2 feet apart. The TV was on, but neither of us was watching. David looked at me. What? Leave. Find a new job. Get your life back. I'm ruining everything, Sarah. No. Listen to me. My voice cracked. You lost your job because of me. Your father hates you because of me. People are gossiping about you because of me. You're sleeping on a couch, taking care of kids that aren't even yours, dealing with my mess. Stop. You're 30, David. You should be out there living, dating women your own age, not stuck here with a 42-year-old single mom who, Sarah, stop. He stood up, crossed to me. You think I don't know what I'm doing? You're being stupid, maybe, but I'm choosing this. I'm choosing you. Why? Tears streamed down my face. Why would you choose this disaster? He knelt in front of me, took my hands. His palms were warm, calloused, and I felt the weight of them settle in my chest. Because before you, I was alone, he said quietly. I had money. I had a nice apartment. I had a job. But I had no one. I'd wake up and the silence was so loud I couldn't breathe. I'd make dinner and eat alone and wonder what the point was. He squeezed my hands. Then, you moved in next door, he continued. And suddenly there was noise. Emma laughing. Jake asking me questions. You. Existing. And I realized I'd been starving for years without knowing it. David, I love you. Sarah. His voice was raw. Honest. I love your strength. Your stubbornness. The way you fight for your kids. The way you make spaghetti sauce from scratch because it's cheaper. The way you fall asleep on the couch reading Emma's schoolwork. I love every messy, complicated piece of you. I pulled him up. Kissed him. Hard. Desperate. I love you too, I whispered against his mouth. The next morning, Emma found us on the couch. Are you guys dating? She asked. I froze. David smiled. Would that be okay? Emma thought about it. Is he gonna leave like Daddy? My chest tightened. David knelt down. Eye level with her. No, he said. I'm not leaving. Ever. Promise? Promise. I promise you everything, Emma. Every single thing. I'll be here for your school plays, for your homework, for your bad days, and your good days. I'm not going anywhere. Emma hugged him. Jake came out, rubbing his eyes. What's happening? Mr. David is staying, Emma announced. Jake grinned. Forever? David looked at me, smiled. Forever. I got the job. Assistant marketing coordinator. Lower pay than before, but enough. David found freelance work. Remote, flexible, lower pay, but he could be home when the kids got out of school. We couldn't afford David's apartment anymore. Too expensive without his corporate salary. We found a smaller place. 2 bedrooms, the kids shared. David and I shared. We got married 6 months later. City Hall. Emma and Jake as witnesses. Mike didn't come. Hasn't spoken to David since. Mark tried to fight for custody. Lost. The judge asked where he'd been for 2 years. Mark had no answer. The new apartment is smaller. 1 bathroom. Thin walls. The neighbors upstairs play music too loud. But it's ours. David makes pancakes on Sundays. Jake helps. Emma sets the table. Mrs. Patterson still gossips. We run into her at the grocery store sometimes. She always asks, "How's that young man of yours?" "He's my husband," I say. She smiles. Fake. Well, good for you. I don't care what she thinks anymore. Last night, after the kids went to bed, David and I sat on the couch. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the fridge and distant car alarms. Do you ever regret it? I asked. Losing your job. Your father. All of it. David pulled me close. His hand traced lazy circles on my shoulder. No, he said. I lost a job, but I gained a family. That's not a trade. That's a gift. He kissed my forehead. You saved me, Sarah. You and Emma and Jake. You gave me a reason to wake up. A reason to matter. I love you, I whispered. I love you too. I'm not the same woman I was 3 years ago. I'm not the woman sitting in a hallway holding an eviction notice. I'm not the woman who thought she had to do everything alone. I'm still struggling. Still broke sometimes. Still overwhelmed, but I'm not alone. And neither is David. We found each other in the wreckage of our separate disasters, and we built something new, something imperfect and messy and beautiful. That's good, because we're not alone anymore.